Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. Space-Time Smackdown is now here, or it is if you're able to log in, which a lot of people are not, including myself, because everyone's trying to get in. But I thought I would make a video with 3 decks that I think will be a lot of fun to try out with this new set. Now, of course, for the first few days, everyone's going to be trying to get their new cards, so it's going to take a while for us to kind of build, these decks, but these are kind of what I've been brainstorming. And by the way, I'm recording this really late, so if I'm a little lower than normal, like my voice, it's my ASMR voice, I do apologize for that, but once I continue recording, or in future videos, I will be, talking at full volume, but hopefully this isn't too bad. So let's get to those decks. Again, these are all decks that I just came up with myself. Some of them are crazy, some of them are, pretty obvious, I guess, but I just kind of thought all of these sounded fun. The first one is Moltres Infernape. So of course, this is one of those decks that a lot of people probably would be able to build, without really thinking too much. It's not like anything super surprising, but we've got Moltres EX, we've got 2 copies of each of the Infernape line, including Infernape EX. And of course, what Infernape does is its Flare Blitz attack does 140 damage for 2 energy, which is really good, but it requires you to discard all energies from it. So, you can definitely set it up with Moltres, but you don't want to put excess energy on it, because whenever you use the attack, whether you have 2 energy on it or 4, you have to discard all of them, so that can be pretty bad for it. So one card that I think is actually really helpful, as you can see in the list, is Dawn, which is a new card. Now Dawn lets you move 1 energy from one of your Pokemon to another, specifically from one of your benched Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So with Infernape's 0 retreat cost, there can be situations where you get to move energy. Maybe if you use Moltres and then maybe you flip like 3 heads or something, you can put all of them on Infernape, but then next turn you can use Dawn and move one of them to Moltres, so that when you go into Infernape and go for Flare Blitz, you don't have to discard all of the energies. You can also do some interesting things where you can actually set up Moltres, so you can Inferno Dance, put some energies on your bench, and then use Dawn to put them back on Moltres, so you can use Heat Blast sooner, which is kind of cool. I also put 2 copies of Heatmore in this deck. It's just a card that can take some hits early, and it does 30 damage for 1 energy, which is not too bad. There's other routes you could go if you want. You could try Arcanine EX, but that just requires more Pokemon in the deck, which could be a rough thing. You're already trying to evolve Infernape, which is a stage 2, and so having more evolutions in the deck could make it harder to pull off. If you count here, I have 19 cards, so we could probably go with 2 copies of Pokeball if we want. I went for 2 copies of Communication, which is the new card. It lets you swap a Pokemon card from your hand with a random Pokemon in your deck, and I thought it would be pretty good because we're playing a stage 2, so there might be situations where maybe we have 2 Infernapes in hand, or maybe we really need Monferno and we haven't found it yet, and you can swap it, so it makes it a little more consistent for you to evolve into that stage 2. Other cards you could play, since I'm missing a card here, you could play Potion is always good, you could try one of the new tool cards. I mean, there's really a lot of supporters or items that you could play. You could try X-Speed or Leaf for Moltres in order to retreat your Moltres. So really all of these decks are just kind of guidelines. You can use my suggestions here as a starting point, and then feel free to make it your own, right? Make some changes to these decks. You don't have to play them one for one, but once I get all these cards, I will definitely be trying this deck myself. It seems really powerful. Infernape seems great, and yeah, it's a fun deck to play. The next deck is where we get a little bit wild. I actually have 2 versions of this deck that I kind of theory crafted. One of them has Skarmory in it, so this version does not have Skarmory. So if you saw on my thumbnail, I have Skarmory on the thumbnail, but I actually don't have any decks that I'm featuring in the video with Skarmory. So let me know if you're interested. I can show you, I can make a video about the Yanmega Skarmory deck that I was brewing. I know it sounds insane, but it has like Druddigon, Skarmory, Yanmega, so there's like so many different types going on, but Skarmory is a card I'm really excited about. But anyways, this deck is a little more straightforward. The goal with this deck was to play Yanmega EX with Druddigon, because of course we know that Druddigon is a Pokemon that is really good at setting up your bench, right? You put Druddigon in the front, it tanks for days, it deals damage to the enemy, and then you go into your EX and just kill them, right? So we are playing fire and water energy in this deck so that we can try to attack with Druddigon. And all the Pokemon, if you look at all the Pokemon we have there, Yanma, Yanmega, Kangaskhan, Mew, they all just require colorless energy to attack. So you can play any colors of energy that you want. And since we're playing Druddigon, I just figured, oh, I can play fire and water energy so that we can sometimes attack with it, which is cool. And as for the trainers, we have I wanted to try a lot of things out. If you notice, I'm playing one big cape and 2 Rocky helmets, so I'm playing a few copies of the new tool cards. I thought that those would be pretty good on like Druddigon or Kangaskhan or Mew, because they give them more HP or they give them some extra damage. So I thought that could be kind of cool if you want to try that out. I'm playing one copy of Pokemon Communication just to try it out. You know, we have a bunch of random Pokemon in this deck, so I just wanted to see how it goes. One copy of Dawn just to move some energies around. One copy of Cyrus, which is kind of cool. It's basically like a more specific Sabrina. And then we have, you know, two research, 1 Pokeball, pretty self-explanatory, and 1 copy of Leaf, because Druddigon and Kangaskhan require a lot of energy to retreat. I guess if you really want to go all in on Mew, you could also play Budding Expeditioner, but I couldn't fit that in the list, and I think this is fine as is. So yeah, I thought this deck was really cool, really wild, and I'm really excited to build it. I just need to find, you know, 2 Yanmegas, and that's mainly it. The other ones are probably easier to find. And the last deck here is another really wild one. I'm building around Spiritomb and Cyrus here. I know it says Spiritomb Luxray because I am playing Luxray, but Spiritomb deals 10 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon, their active Pokemon and all of their benched Pokemon. And Cyrus lets you switch in one of your opponent's Pokemon of your choice if it has damage on it. So Spiritomb can do 10 damage to all of them, and then you can Cyrus into anything you want. So you get to choose what they go into. So I think Spiritomb has a lot of potential. The obvious comparisons or the obvious pairings are Darkrai and Weavile EX with Spiritomb. I think that's going to be a really good deck. But I wanted to go with the non-obvious route, and Luxray also looks really cool to me. Luxray has a Volt Bolt, 3 electric energy. You discard all electric energy from this Pokemon, and it does 120 damage to one of their Pokemon. So it takes a long time to set up. I wanted another Pokemon in the deck to also kind of do a lot of damage, because Spiritomb's not going to do a lot of damage by itself, and Luxray takes a long time to set up. So I chose Pachirisu EX. I thought about running Blitzel and Zepstrika. I thought about running Zapdos EX, but I settled on Pachirisu EX. And since I'm playing Pachirisu, I am playing a few copies of the tool cards. I'm playing 2 big capes just to give Spiritomb and Pachirisu more health, and then 1 copy of Rocky Helmet. I would have loved to play 2 Rocky Helmet, but I just couldn't fit all of that in the deck. And then the rest of the trainers are probably pretty self-explanatory. You know, this, like I said, this is kind of a wild deck. It might end up being really bad, but if I end up opening all of these cards, I will definitely build it and give it a try. Like I said though, Spiritomb requires colorless energy to attack, so you can put it in like any color of deck. I thought about putting it in like a Greninja deck, which I guess would be interesting as well. So I don't know, there's a lot of room to try Spiritomb with Cyrus. And those are my Space-Time Smackdown decks. Like I said, some of them are crazy, some of them are fun. I mean, when Mythical Island came out, I made a Druddigon deck, and I felt like not a lot of people were talking about Druddigon beforehand. And then of course Druddigon ended up being like one of the best Pokemon, so maybe I have a prediction in one of these decks of a Pokemon that'll be better than it looks. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and please subscribe for more TCG Pocket content. I'm going to start making deck guides and gameplay footage of me playing these decks. So if you're excited to see some crazy Space-Time Smackdown decks, go ahead and subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think of these decks and what deck you're going to be building first. Have a great day.